Okay, this is the memo for the IT practical 4 down user Delphi program. Okay, so in the beginning we've just got generate 6 random whole numbers between 100 and 144. Okay, so if you open this up, okay, we're gonna begin just by already displayed with lines.clear. We're gonna say randomize because we are using random. Then we're gonna make a for loop, so we know we want 6, so we can just say okay, for I, just make sure I is initialized here at the top. 1 to 6 do, and then already display.lines.add, and then you want to convert your random, which is going to be an integer, into a string, and then you want to say okay, your random highest minus lowest plus 1 plus lowest on the outside. So that was for the first button. Next one, we've got generate 12 random real between 45 and 90 rounded off to 2 decimals. Okay, so it's going to be exactly the same. Already displayed with lines clear. Randomize for I 1 to 12 begin. Okay, only trick is here, I did it the long way, is you can say firstly just randomize your number. So I'm going to just say random highest minus lowest plus 1 plus lowest and then plus random. Then I'm going to round it off, so ran is equal round your number times 100, close the bracket, divide by 100. Okay, so what that does is if you look at this number, so the first one you're going to do is take this part. Okay, so if you times it by 100, it's basically going to move the comma 2 places to the right. Okay. Next, what's going to happen is it's basically going to round it off. So if you take this number, then it's going to round this number off. So it's basically, okay, so 4, so 7 will be the same. So it's just going to do it like this. And then at the end you've got your divide by 100. So what it's going to do is it's just going to move the comma 2 places then to the left. We'll see here. Okay, so then just 1, 2, and it's going to insert a comma. So then it rounded this huge number off to 2 decimal places. Okay, and then you just want to display your rounded rand. Okay, next up we've got display numbers from 1 to 10. So I've got my reach edit.lines.clear. Okay, I'm not going to use any random, so I'm not saying randomize. Then I've got a for loop for I 1 to 10, and then I'm just going to already display.lines.add and then display my I. Okay, because why? The first time this for loop runs, so the I will be 1. It's going to do the code, then I will become 2, it's going to do the code, I will become 3, it's going to do the code, etc. So your I is basically a counter from this thing till this number. Okay, same display 10 to 1, just going to clear my reach edit, but now I'm going to do for I 10 down to 1. And then it's just going to do exactly the same. It's just going to count from 10. Instead of 1 to 10, it's going to go 10 down to 1. So 10, 9, 8, 7, etc. Okay. Next one, display numbers 156 to 123. Again, just clear your reach edit. For I 156 down to 123, do already display, and then just display your I. Okay. Next one is display numbers 305 to 127. It's exactly the same. It's got your already displayed with lines are clear. For I 305 down to 1272, and then you've got your display. Next up we've got random, and then you have to ask the user, okay, so how many whole numbers do they want between 49 and 60? Okay, so firstly we're gonna already display with lines.clear, then we're gonna use randomize because we are randoming, then we're gonna create a variable q of data type integer, and we're gonna ask the user how many numbers do you want. Okay, so in order to do that we're gonna make a string to int. because we are going to use an input box. Input box gives us a string value, so we want to take that value, convert it to an integer, store it in queue. Okay, so to use the input box, you've got 3 parameters separated by 2 commas. Okay, so the first parameter, and each one is in quotes. So this is actually what it looks like in the beginning, so then you just type in quantity. Okay, the first one, like I said, is the pop-up Windows header. Next one is the instruction to the user, and then the last one is the preset. We're not going to use any presets now. Okay, so then I've got my for loop for I. Instead of having a set number, so let's say random 6 numbers, Q is now our total that we want to random. So we're gonna have for I 1 to the amount that the user just typed in, so that is Q, do, and then we're gonna just display our into string randoms highest minus lowest plus 1 plus lowest. Okay. Next one, random 12 real numbers between 10 and 25 rounded to 3 decimals. Okay, this is going to be exactly the same as the 2 decimals. So we've got our red display.lines.clear, we've got our randomize, then we have our for I 1 to 12 do, and this is just in one line. Okay, so instead of having a few lines of code, I've got only one line now, so it's just going to be my red display.lines.add. Then my random is a float or a double, so I'm just gonna convert that to a string. Next up, I'm gonna say my round. Okay, then inside that brackets, I've got another set of brackets that's basically gonna do my random, my highest minus lowest plus 10, on the outside plus the lowest, which is 10, and then plus random to make it a decimal number. So then outside of this brackets, but still in the round bracket, I'm just having my times 1000. So basically, if there's 3 zeros, it's gonna be 3 decimals. Okay, then outside of that round bracket, I've got just my divide by 1000, and then I can close my float to string bracket, and I can close my add bracket. Okay. Next up, we've got random 10 even whole numbers. Okay, so to randomize even whole numbers, so there's a few ways you could have done it. One way is random a number, and this one was between 2 and 100. So one way was to do is just random a number between 2 and 100 and use an if statement to see if the number mod by 2 equals 0, then it is a even number, then you can display it. Else you just have to take whatever number you randomed plus 1, so that would automatically, if you random 20, it would mod 2, it's going to be 0, so you know it's an even number. Otherwise, if you randomed, let's say 21, it's gonna be an odd number, so then you just add 1 to it, and then it will be an even number. Okay, better way to do it is just take your first number, which is 2, take the half of that, which is 1, and then take your 100, half of that, which is 50, so then it will be 1 to 50. Generate a number between 1 and 50, and then just multiply it by 2. So even if you randomed 1, then you can multiply it by 2, it will be 2. Any number in this sequence, even if you randomed, let's say 5, which is an odd number, but multiplied by 2, you get an even number. Okay, so I've got my red display.lines.clear, I've got my randomize. Then next up, I've got for I 1 to 10, because it's a defined do 10 whole numbers. And then I've just got my red display.lines.add. Into string, I'm gonna random a number between 50 and 1 plus 1 plus the lowest, and then just multiply by 2. Okay, next one, enter, ask the user how many shopping items. Okay, so again, ask the user how many shopping items I want to add, and then add the shopping items to the list. So first off, we've got our red display.lines.clear. I've got my queue, which is my user input, so I just initialize it here at the top. So queue is equal to, again, I'm gonna get a string using input box. I just want to convert that to an integer. I've got my input box, my 3 parameters, header, instruction, and default value. Then I've got my for I want to the user defined, so that will be Q. Then I'm just gonna do rg display.lines.add. Okay, so what I did here is I'm displaying my I, so I'm creating basically a list. So I've got a 1 dot, and then I'm gonna enter the shopping item. Next item will be item number 2 dot shopping item. In order to do that, like I said at the top when we did display the numbers 1 to 10, this is exactly the same. So I will increment each time by 1, so it's gonna be like a counter. So first of all, I'm just gonna display then that counter, which is gonna be, in this case, if it runs the first time, it's gonna be 1. Then I'm gonna add a dot, and then I'll add my input box, and then get the shopping item, and that will be then displayed in a list format. Okay, next one, enter 5 names. Quite easy. I've just got my red display.lines.clear, got my for loop for I want to 5, and then just red display.lines.add. Again, I'm making a list, so I'm just gonna put an into string displaying I, separated by a comma this time, and then just have my input box. So first one, header, instruction, and default value. Then the last one, enter 10 car models, is again exactly the same. red display.lines.clear for I 1 to 10 do, and then just red display.lines.add in my rich edit, and then I'm just gonna say into string I, separate 1 or the number by a comma, and then just enter the car model name. And that was it for this program.